Hello, my name is Steve Mangas, and I'm a chiropractor and acupuncturist here in Central Indiana. And today, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was how your body functions and wellness. When we think of the body, it is not unlike a house. When we think of a house, we have multiple systems that regulate the function of a house. When we look at a house, it has a communication system, which is your telephone. It has a sewer system, which carries waste away. It has a gas line or a fuel line, which carries fuel into the furnace and for the house to function. And then it has an electrical line, which is what gives the house power. And each one of those systems is necessary for the house to run efficiently. The body is no different than that. Our body has a communication system, which is the nervous system. The brain functions as a central processing unit. There are nerves that carry sensory input to the brain. The brain processes that information and sends out a response. There are sewer lines in the body. That's what we call the lymphatic system and the organs of waste, like the large intestine and the kidneys. There's also a gas line. That's what the arteries do. They deliver fuel to the body. They carry nutrition to the cells, and they also carry waste away. So this is where food comes in. This is where your arteries are. And then there's the electrical system. And people say, electrical system in the body? Yes, we have an electrical system in our body. It's the acupuncture pathways. And the acupuncture pathways are well documented. They're not some mythical thing. We've had studies done where people have done injections of radioactive isotopes and measured that isotope passing through the acupuncture pathway where there is no artery, where there is no nerve. It actually flows with current. And so the body is an electrical conduit. The brain is an electrical conduit. When we look at that and we know that those systems are all necessary for proper function of the body, then we have to look at how does that affect the body. Well, when we start talking about body function, especially at a cellular level, in terms of how the body stays well, there are two ends to a continuum here. There's 100% function of a cell, which is what we would refer to as being well or wellness. The opposite end of that spectrum is what we call 100% failure or death. And when all the cells fail, that's when the body passes on. Okay? And that's when you better know where you're going after your time is up. Now, somewhere between 100% wellness and 100% failure, there is this continuum of how the body functions. Mostly, we want to be operating here. But as a rule, what will happen is for some reason, something will happen and we'll get into dysregulation. Now, what does that mean? That means that the nervous system or the acupuncture pathway aren't coordinating the function of the body properly. So what will happen now is that organ or that muscle or that limb will not work as strongly or as efficiently as what it should. You may not have any symptoms at this point, but it just doesn't work right. Well, the longer dysregulation goes on, then what happens is you get into dysfunction. And as you have dysfunction, that means that the tissue no longer works well. And the more dysfunction you have, it starts to create further down this continuum, dis-ease. I just don't feel that good anymore. I'm more tired. Or my shoulder something's not right. And typically at that point, that's where most of us will say, oh, I'm just getting older, or maybe it'll go away. And you know, we are fearfully and wonderfully made. The body is self-regulating and self-healing. If you think of a cut, it heals itself. The body should regulate and heal itself. But oftentimes what happens is, if a vertebrae shifts out of alignment, it will affect the function of a nerve, and the nerve can't carry sensory input to the brain, and the brain can't send information out that nerve to the tissue. And that's how dysregulation leading to dysfunction, ultimately causing dis-ease, that's how that occurs. Well, the longer you go just feeling like, I just don't feel so good, or it's just not working right, the longer that process goes, it turns into disease. Okay? Pathology. That's when you start to see things occurring in lab work. That's when you start to see things showing up on x-ray. It's late in the game. Damage is already done. Now you're finally starting to see things messing up in the body. The longer you go with disease, the obvious outcome is 100% failure or death. So the question is, how do you know when you're sick? Well, most people know or will base their health on pain. Pain is responsible for sending that information to the brain, and if you hurt, then you must be sick. Well, only 10% of the nervous system, 1/10, is involved with regulating or sending information to the brain relating to pain. If you only based 10% of the information, if you based your decision on 10% of the information coming into your brain, is doing the same thing with your finances, that'd be a terrible way to run your household. So what we see is most people will say the absence of pain is when things are well, and the presence of pain is when things are wrong. Wrong way to live. What you want to know is you want the body to be functioning at 100% in order to be well. So what we look for in our office to help regulate the body properly is we look for misalignments or subluxations in the spine that create pain. We also look through via the acupuncture pathways. We measure the acupuncture pathways to see, is there enough current running through those pathways? We also look at the nutrition going into the body to make sure that you have the proper fuel for the cells to repair and regenerate. We also help look at whether or not your hydration levels are right, whether or not you're doing the proper pH of your blood chemistries. There are a lot of things we look at in order for the body to function well, efficiently, at 100%. So if you're tired of feeling sick and tired, things aren't getting better no matter what you're doing, call our office, schedule an appointment with one of our staff. We'll sit down, we'll go through these systems and look at what is not working right. In other words, the cause of your dis-ease, and we'll see what we can do to help you get better. Thank you.